So welcome back to the shop. I just purchased a YARDMAX 4 cubic foot concrete mixer for a project that I'm gonna start today. And I also have multiple projects here coming up in the future that I'm gonna need to do small concrete pads and other things for. So I figured it was time to go ahead and get one of these. I decided I'll make a quick assembly video, show it in its first use for anybody that may be interested in this. I just picked this up on a killer sale at Lowe's, less than 300 bucks. That's cheaper than you can go get the Harbor Freight model or anything else. So I'm sure a lot of people are looking for these. So let's go over some basics on putting this together, see how quick and easy it is, make sure everything came like it should, fire it up, show its first use to you. So I do apologize for all the roosters in the background. My chicken coop's mighty close to the shop. So this is the way it came. Other than a hole on the side, this came FedEx, who flipped it off the back of the truck, literally, that I watched happen on my security camera. So let's make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. All of our hardware. I don't know if this is gonna be overly complicated. So first impression, so far so good. Everything arrived, nothing looks broken, and the build quality seems a little better than I was expecting too. Okay, I'm going to show some basic assembly. Just go by the manual here, record the process along the way, and I'll stop and talk if there's anything worth mentioning, anything's complicated, or doesn't seem correct. Okay, so I have this thing put together. Assembly was not difficult at all. The only time I wish I had two people is with these spring-loaded mixing plates in here. When I had to bolt them to the side, they kind of fight you just because, well, it's just factory spring-loaded steel. But nothing complicated about assembly at all. It did not take very long. And a huge shout out to YARDMAX with their assembly instructions and the way they laid out their hardware packet. All right, so if you look at the assembly instructions, everything's labeled like step 1, step 2, step 3, and very good detailed diagrams where all the nuts, bolts, and washers go. And their hardware packet's probably the best layout I've ever seen. So step 1 in the manual, you go to step 1 right here with all the hardware included. Step 2 in the manual, go to step 2, it's got all your nuts and bolts ready to go. Nothing's thrown in a big just package, you've got to figure it out. Everything was laid out step by step. That made assembly very, very easy. Now with that said, they did not include any extra hardware. I wish they did. I wasn't missing anything, but It's not uncommon to be short a nut, a bolt, something like that. I tend to keep spare everything here in the shop, but you may not. I would love to see just a few extra nuts and bolts since a lot of the hardware was common size. Okay, real easy to pick up, move around, obviously unloaded. The locking handle design works okay. I mean, it's very basic. I kind of struggle with it a little to get it locked in. But again, I'm just being minor nitpicky right there. So let's fire this up. I expect it to be quite noisy. It's just got a big steel sprocket over here that drives grooves that's all the way around the drum. Probably gonna make a lot of noise. I wish there was a grease fitting in there. I'm probably gonna put some grease on that since that's a wearable point of the unit. That'd be about my only complaint. Everything looks very well built for a residential unit, a little better than I was expecting. I've been looking at the Harbor Freight model and was dead set I was gonna get that. I actually think I like this one a little better looking at it, and this was about $70 to $80 cheaper catching it on Lowe's sale, and I am a Lowe's card holder, so I got an additional 5% off the sale price too. Plus it was free shipping to my house. My goodness, Tractor Supply actually has these on sale right now, way cheaper than Lowe's, but then whenever you go to look at shipping, it was $140 just to ship it to my local Tractor Supply, not even to my house. That made this outrageous. So Lowe's is running by far the best sale price I've seen right now on this, if you can count the shipping too. Free. All right, let's fire it up, make some racket, make sure it spins and moves while it rotates, no binding, and let's go put it to use. Okay, noisy like I expected. All of them are. No, I don't see any binding. Everything's nice and smooth. All right, I think we're ready to go dump some bags of concrete in this and figure this process out. This will be my first time ever using one of these. Wish me luck. So let's fire up this new YARDMAX concrete mixer. Again, my first time ever. Get some power going over to this. Cringe warning. I don't have a clue what I'm doing. Y'all bear with me. We're gonna mix to the consistency. Looks right based on some concrete I've seen in person before. We're gonna pour it in the hole. I don't really think you can screw this up. Even if we were to put it in dry, I've seen people put dry concrete in the ground and eventually it hardens. But I need this stuff to set up quick so we can get everything nice and level. And they're calling for a tremendous amount of rain in about 36 hours. So I'm hoping in 24 hours this is set up well enough. Okay. Ugh. Looks like I could probably put a third one in there, but I think it worked 2 at a time. All right, here goes nothing. Okay, the bag instructions said to leave it kind of chunky. That looks pretty chunky. I don't see any dry mix. I mean, it could be a little runnier. I really don't know if it matters for this type of application. It was very obvious that I had to tilt this to get the paddles to do good mixing. With this more in the upright position, well, the paddles weren't really turning over and getting the powdered concrete off the back wall. So somewhere between this position and this position, once you start adding the water, seemed to be perfect to get these paddles to mix. And I don't think I want to do more than 2 80-pound bags at a time. Otherwise it'd be spilling out on me, keeping it at this steep of an angle. So let's see if we can pour it out into this hole like this. Otherwise, we may have to turn it on and have it turning while I pour. That could help too. Again, still a heck of a learning curve. Stuff doesn't want to come out. I very well may have to turn it on. I bet it'll fall right out if I do that. Let's do it. I feel like that was a bad idea. It went all on my wheels, which we'll rinse that right off. It did get it all right out though. But now I take my garden rake and pull all that in the hole. I'm sure some of y'all are laughing your butts off at me, but hey, this is the way we learn, people. We get out and do. I think what this is telling me is I need to have my mix a little runnier next time with the motor off, and I can just pour it right in. Let me show you all the best way that I feel like this works out for me. I am an absolute beginner and noob to this, but lock it in the upright position. I feel like that allows me to pour these very heavy bags in easily. And I find that 2 80-pound bags works the best in here for the angles that we have to go to get proper mixing. All right, I'm gonna fire up my little generator to give this power, start turning it, and I have found that locking into about the second position. There we go, look out. That allows the blades to do proper mixing as I'm adding water. If you try to spin it upright, well, obviously the blades are more near the edge right here and the material's not falling over and getting turned over kind of like dough. I'm just adding a little bit of water at a time. The bag instructions say mix it till it's still relatively chunky. It says adding too much water can affect the strength. We don't want it to come out absolutely soupy. I have found it's best to give it a little bit of water, wait a few seconds, kind of see how the mix looks, do it again. And once you've added too much, there's no taking it back without adding more concrete. Now, looking at the way the mix is doing right now, I could probably add a third bag, but it would be kind of full at that point. But it doesn't look anywhere near to capacity. Now, if you find that it's not coming off the back wall very good, you can tilt this down one more click. And now it's rolling off perfect. That seems to be the perfect mixing right here. Setting number 3 on this lock handle. You can see why now I didn't really want to add any more concrete. I think 160 pounds is plenty. Okay, I got this a little runnier than last time to see if it'll pour out without me having to run this. Last time I had to kick it on, get it all out. Let's see if it'll pour out now. Beautiful. Okay, so that was a quick rundown. I'm just gonna give this a quick rinse out, kick it on, rinse it out, go dump probably right here in this dirt pile, which I'm gonna scoop up with the tractor, rinse it off, put it up. I mean, it's done. It's a simple machine. It worked perfectly. That just saved my back so much having to sit there and turn over several 100 pounds of concrete in buckets and wheelbarrows. And I've got so many more jobs coming up on the channel. Now, what I'm out here doing right now is setting us a flagpole in place. If you're curious about that, consider subscribing to the channel. That video should already be posted before this one, so you can see this in use. And I have several projects coming up here before long. We're gonna lay small pads and stuff around the property. We're gonna actually put some posts in concrete, things like that. So this is gonna get a lot of use on the channel. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hopefully this machine is a good one. I'll update you good or bad.